Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, welcome. This is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call, and thank you for joining us. We've been had something different over the past week. Hopefully you've been tuning in and listening to the audio of my new book, Gateways to God. I'm going to be just doing some final edits on that, and we'll be getting that published. And I'll definitely let you guys know when that's ready and available. And that book was inspired by a retreat that we did last week, Monday through Friday, and stayed here in Arizona for a few more days. And we're just on our trip back to Utah right now. We're actually in Utah. We're in Kanab. And so have just about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, something like that left before I actually get home. And it's just been such a wonderful adventure. And that's the only word that I can use to think of it, to describe it. And the beauty of the earth that we've been able to experience, and not just the beauty, like the energy of the earth, the taste of the earth. We found some really awesome restaurants that have provided just very good, fresh, clean, whole foods for us. And it's been really awesome. And that's what we're going to focus on today is gratitude for Earth's adventures. And we'll see where that takes us. So I'm going to set the timer, get my timer ready, and set that timer for 90 seconds. We're going to do a private silent meditation on gratitude for Earth's adventures, and then we'll share. So I've got my timer set, 90 seconds, gratitude for Earth's adventures, private silent meditation. Just write down whatever comes to you. Begin. All right. Our retreat was in Sedona, Arizona, and surrounded by these beautiful rock formations. And it was really great. We hired a couple of guides while we were there to be able to explain, some of the things about the vortexes and the different things that are available in that area. The energy center, it's one of the strongest energy centers of the earth. And just having a little bit more knowledge about that really increased our, for me anyway, increase my earth adventure. It's really nice to go on a hike And I've been on tons of hikes in Utah where I've seen juniper trees that are all twisty, and hadn't really realized that, and I've seen pictures of like the Grand Canyon and different areas where these twisty juniper trees, and I always thought that it was just like very windy there, and the wind, would twist these trees. But I found out it's the energy of the earth. The tree grows in like an upward spiral pattern. And we went on a hike with our guide in at the Grand Canyon, and he taught us about lightning stars and what happens when a tree is struck by lightning. There is a spiral pattern, and he showed us one really good example, a very clear example of it. There's a spiral upward pattern. And as we walked on our hike, I noticed several other trees with that exact same pattern. And I've never thought of it before. I had no idea that was the pattern that showed it had been struck by lightning. And anyway, lots of other things that we learned. And I just feel like my earth adventure was increased, and I was able to kind of draw some new analogies and because, I always look to nature and to Christ and to God for examples of what I'm experiencing. And it just was really nice to get just a little bit of extra knowledge about nature in this way from these guides. And one of the guide at the Grand Canyon also taught us about wildfires and the benefits of wildfire. And that was really interesting as well. So it just really helped me to understand even more the way that God created this earth to multiply and replenish itself, and things that I can notice that will give evidence of God's hand, having been in that area. And I'm really grateful for that. Who else has something that they would like to share? Crystal.
So I'm grateful for Earth's adventures. I feel like my mind and heart has expanded as I have traveled. And then I get to come home to my safe cocoon in my home to process the beauty and the growth. And I have seen flowers as far as the eye could see, trees taller than giants, and rocks that loop like rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
It's opened my imagination. So, like I lay in bed in the morning and I just like feel such joy just imagining a cocoon wrapped around me of the love of God. And I just lay in bed just feeling really happy.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And to bring in those Earth's experiences to that, I'm sure just increases your gratitude. It's like I love the words that you used, the looped like rainbows. I'm thinking like arches. Is that what you're thinking? What you're
Yes.
alluding to?
Yes.
Yeah. And trees, as far as, flowers, as far as the eye can see, all of those, just feeling gratitude for the abundance of God. Thank you. Phil.
Wow, Crystal. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm driving my car. The way you express yourself, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
But I love just being out there in this wonderful world too, because it just makes me feel so present and so alive, and just to realize, like, oh my gosh, like this stuff, we say it happens naturally, but we know that that there's more involved, in what nature is. And for me, it just gives me a high of just, I can't even explain it, but it just makes me feel present. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
I love that. I know you like to go out mountain biking, and I can just imagine you can go places that even I haven't been with a mountain bike. There's probably places that you can go that are maybe a little harder to get to on foot.
Yeah,
Thank
Sedona
you.
has a lot of biking trails there,
Yeah.
actually. It's
Oh,
one of my destination spots. Yeah.
that is awesome. Thank you. Crystal, did you have something else?
No, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. And Suzanne?
So we had an adventure, and I put that in quotes because you wouldn't really think of this as an adventure, but we had an adventure through art, through an art experience this last week.
Mm,
And um, I appreciated Crystal's contribution to our gift box of her art, and that was really touching. That she shared the the mother who is in creation mode and all of the stars and creating around her, and then Wileen led us in a acrylic paint experience with palette knives. And that was interesting to not use a brush for painting. I don't consider myself an artist per se, but I really enjoyed that experience. And I felt like I was able to create something that I appreciated better than I've done any other painting experience. So
oh,
that was a fun adventure. And like Phil was saying about the focus and concentration, that happens through art. And so that
beautiful.
was a really nice experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think everybody had their own unique experience here at our retreat when we did that art project. And even me, and one of the reasons why I chose the palette knife is because, first of all, it's a little bit faster, to get a big flourish or whatever, you can do. And I think sometimes when somebody gets a brush, it feels like I should know how to use this, and it's tiny and I've got to take some time, to make sure I get it perfect and everything. But with a palette knife, it's kind of like finger painting. It's like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing or how I'm going to do this, but we're just going to get some paint on there. And so it just kind of felt like everybody was in more of the same place, starting from the same place. And so I loved, Laura was one that suggested palette knives, and it was such a sort of wonderful idea. I had a great experience as well, Suzanne, because I typically use brushes. And as I was using the palette knife, it was like, oh, this isn't turning out the way I thought it, the way I had envisioned it. And almost to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I like this, but over the course of completing it, and then especially with what I put into it, the thought, the creative expression that went into it, I've looked at that throughout our trip home, because I've still got it out, just so it can dry and it won't get ruined on our trip. And so I see it every time I open the back door of the truck. And I love that painting, and I can't wait to get home and hang it up. And it's such a beautiful expression, a physical reminder of this retreat and the flow that came out of me to put on the canvas. So I'm really grateful for that part of the adventure as well. And I'm grateful that you had that wonderful experience with that, Suzanne. Thank you. Betsy?
So I really love that. I know that before the call, we talked about, the beauty for our adventures or the moon, and especially with spring, with some of the flowers starting to pop through here in Utah. And when I first moved here many years ago, I moved in July. And so the house was just, had beautiful flowers all around the yard. And I just appreciated it so much. And then winter came and the first snow here, and, just enjoying the beauty that's just here surrounding me. And I remember that next spring where daffodils and tulips, the different flowers would come up that I hadn't seen before. And I was just like this little kid, just so excited that, oh, I have these. I didn't know that these were on my property. And it was so exciting. And some were by the mailbox. And like, I couldn't wait to go get the mail every day. Just an ordinary task was so refreshing and exciting. And I was thinking about how just the simple things in life, just going outside in a beautiful temperature, even when it's brisk, and just enjoying the outdoors. And I like to take micro photography. So I'll get really close to a flower or a plant and I'll see like a heart-shaped leaf or, some little tiny things. And it's just breathing it in and appreciating. And Earth's adventures, whether it's indoors or outdoors. Even with indoor plants, I'll prune the plants that are growing a little long, and then I'll start new little baby ones and put them in water. And it's so fun to see the roots grow and then be able to gift these plants out to other people. And wow, Mother Earth. I think it's great that they call her Mother Earth, because what a nurturing place God has built for us to enjoy and appreciate and learn from. I mean, we can just learn so much from nature, and that our trees aren't really dead, though they've lost their leaves. And they'll come back. And I have a whole line of trees that will soon have these beautiful pink blossoms for about a week, and then they'll turn into these, gorgeous burgundy color trees the rest of the season. And it's just kind of looking forward, but then also through all seasons, every single day. It's how we look at it and how we drink it in. And I love what Crystal said, is waking up and just relishing and looking out the window, or just feeling so good. It's like we create that feeling. We can choose to enjoy it or not.
Beautiful. Thank you. I was thinking of like sunsets and sunrises as you were talking also. And, we've been talking about like travel and going out and having an earth adventure, seeing a new place, going somewhere to have an earth adventure. But I love what you're saying, that we can just be in our own property and we can have an earth adventure there, seeing the moon and the full moon last night, and the just that regular consistency of spring and the change of the seasons, and knowing that those trees are going to come alive in the spring. It's beautiful. Thank you. Mary.
Yeah, one more
sure.
quick thing. Sorry. Is the other thing that I wrote down too was that I love that I have like a natural wood floor or wood table or wood carvings. And so throughout my home, I realized that I really appreciate the craftsmanship of, I was thinking of in our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have these beautiful temples, and inside are beautiful wood carvings and artisanships and very natural creations. And so I really loved, what I have around my home. And I have a lot of artwork from Africa that's carved from wood and lightly stained sometimes, but just beautiful, beautiful work where someone else sees a plain piece of wood, but in that person's eyes, they see a really cool lion or an elephant or some other creation. And it's really in the eyes of the artist. That comes back to what Suzanne was saying as well.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And all of this is God's art anyway. Even a thrown away piece of dead driftwood can become something really, really beautiful in the hands of an artist. Thank you. And it's a type of creation, just like God created the earth. When we create something wonderful using some of his resources, whether that be, creating a business, using the resources of the earth, the abundance of, wealth of the earth, to create a business, or if it's, to a piece of driftwood that we create a beautiful carving, or, whatever it is. I think it's just, it's like everything is with an eye single to the glory of God and his creations. Mary.
Thank you. I got dropped off. I'm grateful.
Oh, shoot, she did get dropped off. Okay, anybody else while we're waiting for Mary to come back? I know her internet in her new place is not quite as stable as where she used to live. Okay, we have just a couple more minutes. Tyree?
I was just going to say that you look at that just photography is just capturing God's art on the earth.
Beautiful. Yes. Yes. I love that. We went to an art, booths where artists were showing off their handiwork. And that's one of my favorite things is to be able to see either paintings or photography of landscapes, and even that micro photography like Betsy was talking about of just a flower or whatever. Just it's kind of like I feel like it's my representation of God's handiwork. I love that. All right, any other thoughts? I'm just watching to see if Mary gets back on, but I haven't seen her yet. Any other thoughts on Earth's adventures, gratitude for Earth's adventures? All right, let's go ahead and shift over into our permission process. And if Mary does get back on, I'll certainly let her share at the end. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And just right now, allow yourself to have an Earth adventure. And whatever that means to you, whether that's you being transported into nature, or if it's you painting a picture, or if it is, just whatever it is, just allow yourself to have an Earth adventure right now in this moment. And as you're having an Earth adventure, knowing that Christ and Jesus and our Heavenly Father, and possibly even you, helped to create this earth in some way. At the very least, just knowing that this earth was created specifically for us to be able to come here and have an earth adventure. And just go ahead and take another deep breath. Mary, I just want to let you know we're going to give you some time at the end. We've started our meditation. So just hold your thoughts and we'll give you some time at the end. And so go ahead and take a moment and just envisioning and being there, not just envisioning, but actually being in your Earth adventure right now. And be open to let your heart be touched, and as Heavenly Father remind you of your purpose here on earth, this earth adventure that you are experiencing right now, and the love that He has for each one of us, that He created this wonderful earth for us to have this adventure, and the beauty and variety and just everything wonderful. That it wasn't just, that this earth isn't just this boring place that looks the same everywhere and has the same temperature all the time or whatever, that we have a ton of variety in weather, in fruit, in rock formations, in oceans, all the different things that God created for us that provide variety and opportunity for adventure. Even the seasons changing is an adventure. So what are the new things that you're sorting out as you're connecting with God on and seeing yourself in this earth adventure in a new way this time? What are some new thoughts that are coming to you that God would have you know. And also, what are any limiting beliefs that might be coming up about this earth adventure that you're on? And with those limiting beliefs, there always comes a cost. And so take a moment and examine the cost of these limiting beliefs that you're holding on to or that you have been holding on to. And if you don't like that cost, if you'd like to change it, change those limiting beliefs and create something new, you can give yourself permission to change by saying yes.
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 Awesome. Thank you. And if you are ready to give yourself permission to choose some new beliefs, this is the time to choose some new beliefs. So looking at those limiting beliefs and the cost that they've had, create some new beliefs that will allow you to enjoy Earth's adventure, to be able to enjoy more of the Earth, maybe have adventures in new places, and maybe to be able to enjoy the adventures that are just right in your own backyard, that are part of nature and the seasons and the fruits and flowers and all of the things that we have access to right now, even just in your own backyard. So creating some new beliefs that will give glory to God for this earth and all of the adventures that we have the opportunity to experience here. Things that maybe in the past we've experienced as being negative, that we can actually see, that we can term these adventures and possibly see some new perspective. And take one more deep breath, and really bring these new beliefs into your body and allow them to change who you are. That from this point forward, you are moving forward with these new beliefs as part of the treasure map that you carry with you in your backpack, with all the tools to have a wonderful earth adventure. And final question, what is the number one most important thing that you could do today to really enjoy your earth's adventure, your earth adventure? What's your inspired shortcut today to really find joy and peace and love and faith in your earth adventure? What's your inspired shortcut today? In a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. And Mary, I'd love to give you a first opportunity to share what you were going to share before, and then anything else that you would like to share. And then looks like Crystal. Oh, and let me just share also, if anybody is needing some extra support in this area, you can go to askwylene.com, and that will take you to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute private mentoring session for free. Askwylene.com. Mary.
Thank you. I don't know how much you heard before.
Nothing. It dropped off right after you said that you were on.
I shared quite a bit. But I was just really grateful for Earth's adventures. I've been on many. Feels like I've lived 1,000 years. And I've had opportunity to live in so many beautiful places where I even would at lunch at one place I worked, I was an island, and I walked every lunchtime around the island as many times as I could, and just soaked in the beauty and the smells, and rejuvenated my life to go back and do more more work. And I've lived in postcard settings where those are just in postcards, but when you stand in the middle of it, or you're swinging your kids on the swing set in a scenery that it's just so majestic and uh, rejuvenating is the only word I can think of. It fills my soul to be outdoors. And even now, many, many years later, my soul is filled when I go outside. And I just moved into a new place and I thought, oh, how confining this place is going to be. But I switched that to start looking at the good. And out my window is a tree, and out my patio is landscaping with daffodils and I mean, it's one of the only places, one of the few places around this complex that there is landscaping, and it's got the daffodils and the flowers. And to me, that's an adventure. I've brought the outdoors indoors by my paintings and what I have in my home, and the textures and the just the rocks or the paintings. And I'm really grateful that I can live, though I have felt like, yes, I can view the mountains, but actually all around me, where I've been used to just amazing scenery and amazing Earth's adventures just all around me. When I here, I've thought, it's like being in Arizona when I was there for 5 months, but I was not in Sedona, and I was not out, I was in the concrete jungle. It just felt like stuck, and yet there was beauty in my backyard, and there was beauty, there's just beauty in Earth's adventures when you're out exploring, and
Beautiful.
It's just rejuvenating. And I did mention when I was speaking earlier that you sound rejuvenated, and that's what happens when you're out, even just climbing the local mountain in your area, or on the path if you don't have mountains, but the ocean, beaches, the lakes, the mountains, the trees. And my limiting belief was, I'm stuck inside. I'm stuck in this area that I have to travel too far to see beauty. I can't just walk out my front door. But that's not true. I can walk out my front door and see Mount Timpanogos, and I can look out my window and see the mountains. So I see beauty all around me.
Beautiful. I love that. And I love it when we can, when we have a limiting belief and we can say, that's not true. When we can actually see, I have a tree right outside my window. I have daffodils outside my patio. I can see Mount Timpanogos out my front door. It's so wonderful when we can just like stare that limiting belief in the face and say, you're not true. I love that. That's so awesome. Yeah. Something that you mentioned, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that it's such a safe and a grounding space to be outdoors in nature.
Yes, I love that. It sounds like you have a wonderful place with a patio. That's beautiful. Something that you mentioned kind of was like a reverse of what we had talked about before, where you can go out in nature and create a representation of nature, by taking a picture or painting a picture of nature. We had an experience yesterday, Laura and I, we went to this little art fair, with all these artists, and we're looking through, actually this was in one of the souvenir shops that we went in, and looking at some of the photography that someone had done, and just, it was so hard to even pick like the favorite or anything, because they were all so beautiful. And one of them, I remember seeing this just blanket of yellow flowers, like Crystal was talking about, like as far as your eyes could see, they were just this blanket of yellow flowers. And then in the background was Cathedral Rock, this red rock formation. It was so beautiful. And had a clear sky behind it. So that blue against the red rock was such a beautiful contrast. And we went to on a little hike before we left Sedona yesterday. And we found the spot where that guy had taken that picture. Of course, we're here at a different time of year, but we could see the yellow flowers. The yellow flowers were still there. Their heads were drooped and they were kind of golden brown, and but we could still see the yellow heads of the flowers. And we're like, this is the spot. I was like, this is the spot. This is where that picture was taken. And we took a picture with the brown flowers. But it was such an exciting moment, kind of in the reverse. Instead of, painting or taking a picture of something, we saw the picture from the artist's point of view. And it was just such an exciting connection that we made. Mary, did you have something else? Oh,
No, I'm good.
right.
I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And then I think, I can't remember, who else was it that unmuted? Crystal.
Yes. So I've had, I'm getting divorced, and one of the nightmares I had, I mean, this sounds like I'm a diva because I had such a happy marriage, but my nightmare was, I don't have a husband to take me to all these places anymore, because my husband was so sweet. He took me to England and, just Victoria, Canada, and all these adventures. And so my limiting belief was, I need to stay home, don't go on trips. But the cost was like, I won't meet my friends out that are around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I won't experience the joy that I am granted by God. And so my liberating truth is, I am Crystal, the art explorer. I go on art field trips. And
Wonderful.
so I'm going to plan once a month an art field trip to go visit an artist in their studio, and then invite my Create with Crystal ladies to go with me.
Yes. I was actually thinking that same thing.
Totally. And then my dad, he's got my same personality, and he's like, every month he's like, I want to go on 2 trips this month. And I was just like, Dad, it's too much. It's too quick. And anyway, so it's like, I'm blessed. I can travel.
Yes, I love that. And it sounds like you have lots of people that you can travel with. You can travel to friends, even friends that you haven't met yet. I think that sounds like a wonderful plan. I totally yes, that sounds awesome. All right. Well, I know we have probably lots of other shares, but we're going to go ahead and end our call today. Thank you so much for being here. I know that last week we didn't meet. And so for some of you, that's like, oh, I got to remember, to get back on the call. Even for me, it's like, is today Monday? Okay, today's Monday. I got to get back on the call today. I had to remind myself, because when we're, when you're on vacation or whatever, it's like you're just caught up in this Earth's adventure. But this has been a really fun call. Thank you. We'll look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and encourage you to continue sharing on our Breakthrough with Gratitude Facebook group. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Love you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.